co-host of the month is Senator Jeff Tart, and he has brought a spectacular guest. Jeff, would you like to introduce our guest, my friend?
I will be happy to, Joe. The person that we have in studio today with us is Jim Engel. And not only is he a true entrepreneur, this is a gentleman that started with the Big Six organizations in the accounting and consulting and working in the finance industry. So he has deep content expertise. He's also somebody who is going to bring a fascinating story this morning. He's founded and started a bank right from breaking ground to going into multiple sites. We'll explore that a little bit. Jim's also a personal friend and literally a neighbor, but as we call him up here, he's the Hugh McCall of Lake Norman. So, so today I want to introduce Jim. Thank you for being here, sir.
Well, thank you, Senator, and it's a pleasure, Joe. Thank you for having me.
Okay, Jim. First of all, around here, he's just Jeff.
Okay, I'll go. You heard me stumble on that Senator thing there.
I know he's got the pin on. You know,
well, it's okay because I've coached his daughter in rec sports and stuff since they were little. So
it's true.
We go way back. He's just being polite for the air.
Well, thank you for having me, and comparing me to Hugh McCall, that's just a stretch. So
take it, man. Take it.
We'll put that on the door of your office.
Well, but let's talk about that just a little bit, Jim, because obviously very few people get this great privilege to do what you've done, right? Which is start a local community bank, and there's so much talk about that lately. Talk a little bit about the story. You know, you don't have to go back to 1962, but talk about why and how you got this thing up off the ground.
You know, Joe, I was listening to your prior segment regarding the pitfalls of starting a new business, and so many of those items just really applied to what we did. Why and how is probably like a lot of new business owners. I was at a point in my career that was either stay there and retire there because I had been there 21 years, or take a chance. And I was 47 years old, and I thought to myself, well, if I stay too long, I really don't have a choice.
You were already there at 20-something years, at 40?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is a loyal man. You understand that?
Yeah, it's kind of unusual, but that was the first job and only job. I stayed right there, and so I was looking around and I was saying, do I stay here and retire? And it's a great firm, loved KPMG, great firm. But I decided to take a chance and basically went home and talked to my wife about quitting my job and starting a bank.
And after the tears?
Well, we had 5 kids at home. Okay.
Wow.
And
did you say brave or crazy?
And she said to me, we can live in a smaller house if we need to. And
amen.
Yeah. So without her, it wouldn't have happened. But
so real quickly, because you made this, it kind of sounds like a song. Do I stay or do I go? So what things did you factor in or consider to make that decision?
Well, for one thing, I wanted to build something that I would really could look at and feel accomplished about, but also something I could either gain real wealth on or leave to my kids. Okay, and KPMG and any of the big 6, now down to the final 4. Okay, is it
used to be the Big 12,
right?
We go for this older people.
Wow, yeah, you don't have that opportunity. You have a great career, but there's nothing you can transfer to another generation because they're partnerships.
So equity or future equity was really a driving force for you.
It really was. Yeah, you're exactly right. And when you own your own business, you're creating your own equity. You're creating your own future, and if you do well at it, you have that equity. When you work for somebody else, you never do have that. And
you are just so speaking to the choir with me about this. I've been telling people for years, I believe the next 5 to 10 years, the best way to create wealth is going to own a small business and run it well. Mm-hmm. And you will create great equity on that.
Jim,
so
how long has the bank been in existence now?
We received our charter on August 1st, 2006. So basically, we're a little bit over 10 years now.
And being 10 years old, that gives you perspective. And maybe to share with our listeners who are either starting up businesses or at that same point, maybe the 7-8 year time frame, what were the hurdles that you had out of the gate, and how have they changed, or did they stay the same? And what would those be at years 8, 9, and 10?
Great question. The initial hurdles are develop your business plan. And both of you were talking about know your demographics, have a plan in place. Second major hurdle is obviously raising capital. You have to have enough capital going in. We knew we would lose money for a couple years. We planned on that. We actually lost money for 7 quarters and then start making money. So we started.
That's a long 7 quarters, isn't it?
It is. But you have to, when you start a new business, the likelihood of making money out of the chute is, it's almost impossible. So we knew that. So raising the capital, having a good business plan. In a banking world, we had to get regulatory approval. Yeah. So that was a major issue. And then it's all about people. Okay, both of you talked about this earlier. People is who you hire, coaching, mentoring, building a team of people. You can't grow if you don't have good people. And one of the issues I see when we have businesses come to us for loans is sometimes you have a business owner who's really good at what he does, but he won't hire the people to help build that team. So at some point, that person is overworked, can't grow the business because there's only 24 hours in a day.
Right.
And no matter how hard they work, they're not going to grow that business if they're the only one, doing whatever that business is. So,
and it diminishes their equity, which is why they got started to begin with.
Yeah, so you have to let go a little bit. You have to allow your people to grow, and you have to help mentor and coach them to grow. And we're a bank. I started the bank, but that issue goes across every business line. You have to hire good people, coach, mentor them, and build a team of people.
Well, that's why I like that Jeff asked you to be on the show, because you are a small business guy, right? I mean, people don't see you as that because you're the president of the bank, right? And by the way, Jeff and I are still waiting for some samples, but but you go through the exact same challenges, in some cases more because of regulation, to start this bank and put it together. Can you talk about how you raised money to actually get your business up and running?
Sure. Well, starting off is friends and family, right? You go to them. Banks are have a unique feature. The SEC governs raising capital to a large extent for a lot of companies, but not for banks in terms of banks. Community banks are exempt from the 34 Act. And so we could go to non-qualified investors. And without getting into the weeds too much, basically it opens up the field of investors for us. So we really went to breakfast, lunch, and dinners all the time, telling our story. And the story was what we were going to be basically when we grow up, right?
Right.
What is the company going to look like? Interestingly, I will tell you, and this may help some of your listeners, is that when we were raising capital, initially we talked a lot about our vision and who we were and what we were going to do. And what we learned after doing this for a number of months is that what people really want to know is what's in it for them.
Return on investment.
That is it in a nutshell. What can they expect, reasonably expect? And you can't overpromise. You can't.
Or a guaranteed bank loan.
Excellent. Yeah, that too. But it was very eye-opening, because when you think everyone wants just to hear about you or your strategy and your vision, ultimately they want to hear some of that, and they want to have that trust, but they also want to hear what's in it for them. So for many businesses, if you're starting up, capital is king. You have to have enough to get yourself started, lose some money for a year or two, and still weather that and still have the cash to continue on.
I've been pretty good at the front end of that, losing money for a while. You mentioned people, especially as you've established the business, and for all people, like you say, to an extent, people are critical. Any tips or techniques, either specific to the finance industry or in general, what are the attributes you look for when you're hiring in people?
I look for attitude. We can train for the skill part. We can train.
Great statement.
Well, and I think that goes across the board. Pretty much any business you go into, you can probably train the people to learn that business. You can't train attitude, and so that's what we look for. In a nutshell, we look for people that are people,
right,
that are outgoing, positive attitudes, and when you find that kind of person, then we train them into whatever the role